What's up, everyone? Welcome to a new show of Games I Speak. I'm Gio,
And I'm Josie.
and today we have a lot to cover. So let's kind of jump in here. First story up: Last of Us 2 remake reportedly in development, and Days Gone 2 pitch rejected. Reported turbulence in Sony's smaller studios. So this is an article on IGN, but I saw it kind of all over the place,
Yes.
and let's just kind of read through here real quick, and then we can discuss about what's going on. Sony Studios are reportedly working on a remake of The Last of Us, while Sony Bend begins work on a new game after an unsuccessful 2019 pitch to make Days Gone 2. In a new Bloomberg report into dissatisfaction among Sony's lesser known studios, sources say that a Last of Us remake codenamed T1X was started by Michael Mumbauer, the founder of Visual Arts Service Group, a Sony developer that traditionally assists development on PlayStation Studios games. Mumbauer apparently assembled a new 30-strong development group, and after passing on the idea of a remake of the first Uncharted game, settled on a remake of 2013's The Last of Us. However, the team reportedly ran into trouble after Sony kept their existence a secret and refused to offer extra budget. Head of PlayStation Studios Herman Holst apparently deemed the project too expensive, and Mumbauer's team was moved to support development of The Last of Us 2. Bloomberg sources say that after The Last of Us 2 was complete, Sony moved multiple Naughty Dog developers onto the T1X project, and the remake effectively became a Naughty Dog project. Mumbauer and other original developers have now left the company, but development on the remake is apparently continuing. Um, and as part of the same report, Bloomberg also says that Sony Bend pitched a sequel to Days Gone after the game's release in 2019, but was rejected. Sony then apparently moved Bend developers onto two Naughty Dog projects, a multiplayer game, presumably the standalone Last of Us multiplayer game, and a new Uncharted project. And as a result, some of their staff also left. And then we have an update here. Reports that its source claim a Sony Bend developer Uncharted game was planned to be a new chapter for the series, possibly a prequel, and was intended as something of a reboot for the series. It's unclear if those plans have persisted with Bend off the project. Um, so, yeah, there's a lot going on in that article. Um, but let's focus on the one main part. Uh, Sony working on a Last of Us remake,
Okay.
um, a game from 2013 that already had a remaster done to it, which you can still play on a PS5 if you want. Um, so what do you think about that?
So it's true that Last of Us is a 2013 game, not that old,
Yeah.
and there was a remastered version done for the PlayStation 4 early in the PlayStation 4's life.
Hmm.
It was also available on PSN. So, I mean, what this says to me, the focus in this article on Last of Us, as well as Uncharted, is that they're trying to leverage those properties because currently in development or about to be released are the Last of Us TV show for HBO
Hmm.
and the Uncharted movie starring Tom Holland.
Yes.
So I can only assume that they want to profit off of whatever hype is surrounding those properties.
Yep.
Kind of like how Konami re-released Castlevania Symphony of the Night, like the Resurrection combo when the Castlevania animated series came out. They
Yep.
weren't really related except for like in terms of those properties, but they wanted to bank off of what popularity was going on for Castlevania.
Yeah.
So I assume. that this is in tow with that.
Yes,
What do you think?
that's exactly what I think. I think it's a business move on their part, pretty much.
Yes.
But as you can see from the article, what happened, what it was a result of that was that these smaller studios that they bought out are very unhappy doing that kind of work, and so they had a lot of people leave those studios. Um, you know, which is totally fine. That's their right. Um, and
Yes.
I hope that they are able to land back on their feet and kind of work on something that they find more meaningful. Um,
Well, this is
and
all part of the larger picture that we've gotten of Sony as of late, which is, they don't want to focus on smaller studios, smaller game projects, maybe
mhm,
like B type games.
yeah,
They want to focus on the large blockbuster type games and multimedia experiences.
yes, and
So,
as
so I
we
mean, we saw that with the shuttering of Japan studios and all these
yes,
other smaller studios. But go on, sorry.
yeah, no, that I was just going to bring up the shuttering of Japan studios, and it's I don't know, it's definitely their call. They can do it. It is a business move, like I said,
It's always
but
going to be their call at the end of the day.
it is going to be their call at the end of the day. But here's a question for you: uh, would you be interested in purchasing a Last of Us remake?
No.
Yeah,
I mean, the short answer is no,
yeah,
but the long answer, and this is just me going into detail for anyone that cares to hear it,
yeah,
is literally, the Naughty Dog of today isn't the same Naughty Dog that maybe made the original Uncharted and the original Last of Us. They're the ones that made Last of Us 2.
yes,
And I'm not a fan of that Naughty Dog.
yes.
So that coupled with how many PlayStation 5 games do you own that you've purchased personally?
I think I have four.
And you've
Um,
purchased them. You've purchased each.
oh,
I'm saying ones that you've purchased personally.
oh, yeah, four. I have four physical PS4 games or PS5 games. I have
So
yeah.
go ahead.
So
You have Demon Souls.
Demon Souls. I bought Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition.
I thought your sister got that for you.
She got it for me, but I count it as a personal purchase because it was a gift. So,
That
uh,
doesn't count. I'm telling you the ones that you purchased. And the reason why I'm putting the disclaimer
yeah.
is literally because that $70 price tag is a lot.
Well,
And and
DMC
and, and
5 was cheaper. I think that was like
that was
40.
also a gift.
Yeah, that was a
But
gift.
what I'm
But
trying to say is that $70 price tag is a lot, and
it
it
is.
makes me really kind of refocus my efforts in terms of what I purchase
Yeah,
when it comes to these games and when I purchase them, especially when in the previous generation, as soon as games came out, it wasn't like a month or two later that there'd be a discount.
exactly.
So, you know, if they're bringing this out at such a high price and the changes are not substantial comparatively speaking to something like Last of Us Remastered, because I literally just played Last of Us Remastered before Last of Us 2 released.
I know, and you can, and like I said, you can play it on your PS5.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You could like
And the
this.
multiplayer is still available on that too. There's
Yeah.
no
So
but granted, what I'm trying to say is like the the studio hasn't really made games that I've been wanting to play,
yeah,
and the price is prohibitive in terms of new games coming out for the PlayStation 5.
yeah.
So it makes those that's the long answer to a simple question. How about you?
Um, yeah. So I'm more on the. So I'm first of all I'm hesitant that they're not going to mess up the story in some way or the game in some way because if if you can play the original uh, remastered version
Yes.
on the PS5 and it's going to run great, it's going to look great. Um, but then they come out with a remake. Well, they're going to have to do something different because why would anyone buy a remake if they make it like extremely similar to the first one? They have to differentiate it somehow
I mean,
because
it happens all the time. We can look at Final Fantasy VII Remake, integrate, aside from the DLC, which it is DLC,
yeah.
the Yuffie DLC, aside from that stuff, it's barely a step up in
Okay,
terms
so
of upgrades.
do you think that off the top of your head, would you think that they're focusing on more of like, hey, this is an optimized, upgraded, 4K PS5 version. Maybe we added some new cutscenes in, and that's it.
I mean, that's what they did with Remastered. Remastered included the what was it? I want to say Left Behind. Was it? Yeah, I think it was the Left Behind chapter, and the DLC, as well as the base game running better than it did on marginally better than it did on the PlayStation 3. But the
Yeah.
PlayStation 3, it was already amazing on that system.
Yes. Yeah.
So
It was the
I mean, yes,
pinnacle. It was the
yeah. So
pinnacle of
yes, it
PS3.
ran well on the PlayStation 4. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but if I was still playing on the PS3, I wouldn't be unhappy.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So honestly, I think you made the best points there. One, the price point. Is it going to be worth paying that much when you can just play the PS4 remastered version on the PS5? And two, it's a different Naughty Dog. It's not the same. It's not the same exact studio that made the original. So
So what changes would be made, if
yeah,
any? And are they substantial? It's and like you brought up, what if they change the story in any kind of way
yeah,
in order to make it more like, I guess, cohesive with Last of Us 2?
yeah,
They could do it. It's their property.
yes. So yeah, these are all good questions, and yeah. So I'm gonna answer you the short answer as well. At this point, I'm not interested in a game like this. So there you have it. But the long answer, like you said, the price point, what's going to be the difference here? I mean, is it going to be worth it at all? So let's see what they come up with. But to sum it up, the main point that I wanted to make was, and that you already made, is Sony is diverting most of their resources towards these flagship titles,
Yes.
and what's happening is a lot of smaller developers are unhappy working for Sony right now, and they're leaving the company. So there you have it. All right. Next up, this is a post on NeoGAF where somebody, Kyoshiro330, went through all the difference between Mass Effect Original versus the the Legendary Edition that we're going to be getting soon.
Yes.
So I just kind of wanted to go through here, and we can kind of discuss. You're more familiar with this game, so I'm hoping you'll explain it better.
I haven't played it in forever.
Well,
But
whatever you
funny enough,
remember.
I did just land a Mass Effect 1 Collector's Edition on the Xbox 360.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay, so the Legendary Edition, which is coming out this year, features over 40 DLC packages from Mass Effect, Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3 games, including promotional weapons, armors, and packs.
Nice. That's very cool.
Yeah, that is cool. The following overview lists gameplay changes we made specifically to the first Mass Effect, with the goal of bringing it a bit more in line with the rest of the trilogy. Okay. Shepard can now sprint out of combat. Melee attacks are now mapped to a button press rather than automatically occurring based on proximity to an enemy. Weapon accuracy and handling has been significantly improved. I always have a hard time with this word.
Reticle bloom?
Yeah, reticle bloom is more controlled. And that is your crosshairs, I believe, right?
Yes.
Weapon sway removed from sniper rifles.
Oh, that sounds like they're making it too easy there.
Yeah. Aiming down sights, tight aim camera view has been improved. Improved aim assist for target acquisition. So yeah, this seems like they're making it more easy.
Yes.
All relevant enemies now take headshot damage in the first game. Previously, some did not, including humanoid enemies.
That's hilarious.
Ammo mods, anti-organic, anti-synthetic, can now drop throughout the whole game. Previously, these stopped dropping at higher player levels. They are now also available to purchase from merchants.
That's nice.
All weapons can be used by any class without penalty. Specializations, the ability to train, upgrade certain weapons, are still class specific. So I guess you can use anything, but you can only be proficient in what your class allows. Weapon cooldown much faster. Medigel usage has been improved. Base cooldown reduced. Leveling benefits increased. Increased Liara's bonus to cooldowns. You can see how much I've played this game. Inventory management improvements. Items can now be flagged as junk.
Okay.
All junk items can be converted into Omnigel or sold to merchants at once.
That's good.
Inventory and stores now have sorting functionality.
Nice. These are some quality of life improvements.
Yep. Some abilities have been rebalanced. Yeah, that could be anything. Weapon powers. Those that are unlocked on each weapon type's skill tree have been improved. Effectiveness strength is increased. Duration reduced in some cases. Heat now resets on proper activation.
Power activation.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: the way it sounds like A, they've made it easier, and B, they've made there's a specific term for it, but the feeling of improvement, the feeling of progression, better, or at least more apparent.
Yeah.
In terms of these power ups.
Yeah, they added more. I forget the name. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I wonder if, and this is just from hearing this. I obviously would need to try out the game, see what reviews say. But it does sound like they're making it so you can kind of tear through the game pretty quickly, which isn't the worst thing.
No.
But at the same time, there is a question of balancing.
Yes.
There's a question of balancing. Like, I wish, instead of them making these global changes, they kind of do something a la Final Fantasy VII, to use an example, or Final Fantasy VIII or IX, the versions of Square Enix released that were from the original games from the PlayStation era. But you have the ability to toggle on God mode. You have the ability to toggle the speed of the game or play it as the original speed was.
Yeah.
So it's like you have the power to modify the game as you want to play it, rather than kind of like all these long-standing changes that might make it too simple. That's what it sounds.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. So yeah, I definitely agree with the approach to make the game more accessible and easier to play through, because like if you're buying a trilogy pack, you kind of want to play all of them.
Definitely.
And you don't want to be stuck like wading through the minutia that the original games had that people complained about. But at the same time, it is good to have the option to turn it off or on. That way you can experience it more like the original game. But like we always say, this leaves some value in owning the original versions of the game. Because if you want to play it at the harder version, if you want to play it as it was originally intended, you can always go back and get that original copy if you can find it. And I would suggest that if you do play this and you find it too easy, look at trying to procure the original version for yourself.
And thankfully, unlike something like, what was the recent remake that we were talking about? We were talking about Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And honestly, Ninja Gaiden is actually another good example of the same idea that you're talking about, where if you're able to procure those games, Xbox has a system, the Xbox Series X, that is capable of playing those games, and you don't have to go ahead and scramble for an Xbox 360, and it'll
Yes.
play it better than it did originally.
Yeah. Um,
So,
yeah.
but in the case of Mass Effect 1, I'd say, unlike Ninja Gaiden Black, Mass Effect 1 unfortunately doesn't play as well
Hmm.
as as this one might in terms of its quality of life improvements.
Yeah.
But who's to say? Sometimes it is fun to go back and just play old games and go and what do you say? Experience them as
Yeah.
they were originally intended.
It's funny. Like a couple of years ago, before Blizzard released World of Warcraft Classic,
Yeah,
somebody opened a server in Russia that was the original version of World of Warcraft.
tight.
And people have these servers all over, but they're usually invite only. This
Yes.
one was public. And so I started playing on it. Oh my God, I forgot how hard that game was when it first came out. The quality of life improvements that game has received over the years are like night and day.
Substantial.
It's not even the same game anymore. It's not even the same. It was so hard just to reach like level 10. I was like struggling. I was dying all the time. It was crazy. But yeah,
How long did you play that for?
the
The classic.
Russian
Yeah.
server?
Yeah.
I played it for like a month and then
But see, there you go.
yeah,
That's a really good example. It's
yeah,
like, people comment kind of like Sony stance currently in terms of like old games. Who wants to do that?
yeah.
Sometimes, I
Some
mean,
people do.
give people the choice.
Yes.
It's my choice whether I
Yeah.
want to do that or not.
I was having fun. I
Exactly.
was having fun. I was meeting people from China on the server.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Don't entertain shame me.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like talking. I was like trying to start like a little group with some Chinese gamers,
Yeah.
and we were having a hard time communicating with each other. But it was fun, dude. Like I would go up to them like, "Hey, what's up?" And they'd be like, "Hey," and I'd be like, "Where are you from?" They'd be like, "I'm from China." And then I'd ask them like, "How's China right now?" And one guy was like, "The pollution here sucks. I hate it." And I was like, damn. But it was just fun, man. It was fun. So
Cool.
yeah, I recommend giving players option. More options, the better. So
Yeah.
um,
And here's the thing. That's just garnering player goodwill.
yes, yeah,
That creates brand allegiance.
yeah, yeah. And I want to say our Ninja Gaiden video was a hit on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
We got like I don't even know how many comments. A lot.
Cool. Ah,
And
neat.
I want to say there was people fighting in the comment section
Oh,
about
about what?
some people were like, it sucks, I'm not going to play it. And then other people were like, I have no problem with Sigma. And I just want to say, we do these segments so that you guys are informed what the changes are. And you know ahead of time that, like, hey, look, I might not want it because of this change. I might want to go play the original. That's why we bring it up.
Yeah.
We're not saying if you buy this, you're an idiot and you shouldn't play it. We're not saying that at all.
If anything, we made the point that people that just want to play it and
Hmm.
experience it are more than welcome to buy it. But I
Yeah.
mean, we also have our own opinions,
Yeah.
and I'm of the opinion that I don't want to purchase it, but I'm not going to knock someone for purchasing it. That's silly.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're going to enjoy it, more
Yeah.
power to you.
Yeah.
Enjoy that.
So, yeah, I just wanted to make that point. If you're for 'em, great. Go out, buy it, enjoy it. I hope you have fun.
Yeah.
All right, next up. Outriders plans first patch update for new week. Launch players to get legendary weapons. So, I don't know if you saw on YouTube like the kind of disaster that was like the first week of this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the
I
the
thought I
servers.
thought it was doing well.
It's doing well, but some people are having major server issues.
Oh, okay.
So I watched Angry Joe's video,
Yes.
and he just pointed out all these issues that they were having. Like they were getting disconnected constantly. They were having glitches in the game. Some enemies just took forever to kill. There's balancing issues that need to happen, right?
Yes.
Which happens with a lot of new games, but The server issues are the ones that really frustrate players because there's companies that do load testing. Like you can hire them to come in and do load testing. Yes, the load testing is never going to be as accurate as real world production. But I wonder if these companies do load testing in a significant way before they release these big games.
Exactly. Like, that's the. I mean, isn't that the argument for why people do betas?
Yeah. Um, and even when they do a beta and there's server issues, that's not to say that when the full release comes out, it's going to be fixed because beta players are usually a smaller fraction as the actual players who buy the game on release day. We're
Yes.
talking millions different, right?
Yes.
So, but it is a good standard
It's a
to,
litmus test.
yes, do load testing. Do it. Hire some, if you can't do it, hire someone to load test your servers and do a beta. Do a limited beta if that's all you can. Do, maybe throw the pre-order people a bone, let them have it like a day or two early. I mean, I saw they did that with the new Guilty Gear. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah. Were you ever able to play it?
What?
Were you able to play it? I remember you were having issues getting
Yeah,
into the beta.
yeah. I played it. I actually uploaded some clips on Twitter
Nice.
of some matches. I forget his name.
Soul bad guy. Kai
No, I
Kisuke.
I played the tall guy with the scalpel. The tall guy with the bag on his head.
Oh, Faust.
Faust, yes. I played Faust, and I don't know what it was. He immediately clicked with me. I just I just figured him out like that, and I was playing. I was beating people. Anyways, enough of
Awesome.
that. But yeah, do a beta.
but but
Do a
but but
beta.
beta
Do a
betas
beta.
betas are good. But here's the thing. With Outriders,
Yeah.
did you by any chance get it? Did you play it?
No, 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 no. I did not get it.
Okay.
But let's look at here. Let's just do a quick overview because they talked about what they're gonna fix.
Okay.
A quick overview of everything in the Outriders launch week dev update. The first patch is arriving next week, and it should fix a large number of issues, especially with crashes. Oh yeah, that was another thing. There was a ton of crashes.
Oof.
Launch players who played Outriders from March 31st to April 11 will get a complimentary thank you package in the near future. So the belief is here is that they're going to get like a good legendary item to kind of like apologize for the shitty rollout.
Okay.
The Outriders team is working on doing a mass restoration of lost epic and legendary gear for certain players. So apparently a bunch of players lost gear. Different maps, gear, and abilities are getting balance tweaks in the backed maintenance update today. The Outriders team has shared some details on the server and multiplayer issues that have afflicted Outriders. And then here you have the first patch update. Um, Controller adjustment options such as dead zone adjustment, acceleration settings, and legacy layouts. Loading time improvements for Xbox One and PS4 consoles. That's good. Further performance improvements for co op games. Cross-play friendless and invite system across all platforms. That's huge. This will require you to be using a Square Enix members account. Okay, that's not good. Um, they should just do it with the login system people use. Bug fixes, including, for example, lore collectibles bugging out on second character. So I'm not going to read through all these PC fixes here, but I'm going to post this article up so you can go through all these yourself and see what the changes are.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, the game had a rocky launch. Lots of connectivity issues, lots of crashes. But the good news is that they have acknowledged it. They're going to reward the players that stuck with them through this hard time, and they're already rolling out major patches. So that's important. And like we said, you know, do load testing and do a beta. It's it's just the way things should be done from now on for big multiplayer games. So yeah,
Agreed
yeah.
completely.
So yeah, with that, we're gonna get into a very uh, hot topic. This is something that you sent me a video about earlier this week. PS3 DRM kills digital games. So okay. What was the name of the guy who made that video? Hikori Mori,
Hikikomori.
Hikiki Mori.
Yeah, Hikikomori. Oh man, I'm forgetting the last part, but he's on YouTube. He
Yes.
goes under Hikikomori, and he was really, really informative. And this is some real bitter
BS.
news.
This is some BS. All right. Oh, here he. Okay,
There it
here.
is, Hikikomori
Yeah,
Media,
yeah. He's in here.
YouTube.
All right. So this is an article from IGN India, and I am surprised I did not see more reporting on this because this is huge. All right. Let's.
And here's the thing: this also extends to the PS4.
Yes, and we're gonna talk about all that. All right.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go over what exactly is happening here. So I don't have to read this because I saw his video and I know exactly what's going on. So essentially, what's going on here, but I'm going to post this article for you that want to read it, and go out check out Hikiki Mori on YouTube.
But please try to simplify it. I'm
Yeah.
going to quote one of my favorite movies, Galaxy Quest.
Okay.
Explain it like you would a child.
Okay. So essentially, what's happening is the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4 have a mechanism, DRM, which doesn't that stand for digital rights management or something like
Correct.
that? Yeah.
Correct.
Which is just a fancy way of saying like we want to protect our IP, right? That's basically what it is, but it's done in a way that is anti-consumer. That's the problem about it, right? It's not a consumer-friendly way to do things, and that's been the main criticism over the years, right? So essentially what's happening is there's a DRM mechanic in the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4 where if your CMOS battery.
What's a CMOS battery?
All right,
Gia?
so I'm going to get into that. But let me explain the whole overarching thing and then we'll break it down piece by piece. So if your CMOS battery dies and you don't have connection to the PlayStation Store via the internet, you're on the PS3, you cannot play digital games anymore. Your library is useless. And on the PS4, you cannot play digital games and you can't play physical games.
Physical games.
All right. So let's break down what this is. So a CMOS battery, if you open up your Dreamcast, right?
Or a Saturn.
Or a Saturn. You know how when you buy like an old Saturn or a Dreamcast, or you have an old Saturn or an old Dreamcast, you haven't played it in many years, you turn it on and it tells you to set the date. You've had that happen to you, right?
Oh, it literally just happened to me this past week when I booted up my Saturn.
Okay. What that is the CMOS battery, which is like, you know those flat watch batteries? That's what it looks like. It's just like a
A
flat.
CR2032.
Yes. When those die, your console loses the ability to track time. That is the internal clock battery for your console. So what's going on here is if your console cannot verify the time via the CMOS battery, or it cannot connect to the PlayStation Network to verify the time, your games don't work. All right? It's a way of saying we don't know if this console is legit or not, so we're just going to block all games on it.
It pretty much bricks the console.
It breaks it, yeah. It breaks the console. So let's talk about why this is not good, why this doesn't make any sense. So for one, judging the time on a console, yes, it's important in a way because you want to be able to tell like, okay, you know, what is the current time right now? When were these games purchased? You know, I can see, hey, this game was purchased on this date. That makes sense. Maybe it wasn't. Okay,
Well,
maybe.
from what I understand, one of the major reasons behind the battery uh, and also needing to connect to the PlayStation Network is trophies. Is to go ahead
Okay.
and keep a time tracking on trophies and make sure people aren't cheating for trophies.
Okay.
And they can't change the time when they achieve those trophies.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say it's basically a way to verify the time on you can do it on game purchases, trophies, all that stuff. And so that's their way of verifying it. And okay, that makes sense. Like you said, they don't want people to send back a bunch of false trophy information, right?
Correct. Like someone just got all the trophies ever.
Yeah. That's fine for trophies.
Yeah, exactly. But what if I want to play
A game that you
a
bought.
game? Yeah, exactly. Right here, Tales of Tales of Xillia. I
Yeah.
want to play that on my PlayStation 3,
Yeah.
which is only available on my PlayStation 3.
Yes.
So what if I want to play this 20 years later, my CMOS battery is dead, and there's no PlayStation Network to connect to?
Yes. You're screwed. You are screwed
And
at that
I have
moment.
the physical copy right
Yeah.
here. So what's the point?
So the point is that they're being a little too aggressive. They went too far with this DRM. It should not stop your consumer like client side ability to use your console. Yes, it should stop the ability to upload false data to their network. I get that. That makes sense, right? You don't want people hacking your network and sending false information. That's fine. You can use it as a mechanic for that. Nobody's saying you can't. But you should not shut down your own like device that you sold to someone in good faith that they would be able to use this device of their own free will. That's ownership, right?
Not only of their own free will, but when they want to use
When
it.
they want to use it. Yeah.
So, I mean, I just this morning, I was playing on my original PlayStation 1. It's a fat PlayStation 1. It doesn't have the PSIO connector, but it's a fat PlayStation 1, and I was playing it. I just put in the disc, that's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to connect to the internet, doesn't
No.
need to check the time.
No.
Just has to have the working, insides,
Yeah.
and you're good to go.
Yeah.
As well as a memory card, obviously.
Yeah.
But still, I'm afraid of the day that I try to do that with my PlayStation 3 or my PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 1 is what? Over 20 years old. We just had the PlayStation 1 Classic, right?
Yeah.
So that works like a champ.
Mhm.
I feel like the PlayStation 3, these newer generation consoles, I mean, the Xbox 360 had terrible issues at launch with the Red Ring of Death. And the PlayStation 3, the originals, I had the 60 gigabyte original that was able to play PlayStation 2 games.
And it died.
I had the Yellow Light of Death.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of moving parts to these newer systems. And who's to say, what might happen? But that notwithstanding, there's something that was already built into the system that's going to prohibit me from playing my games in the future.
Yes.
Whenever I want.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It does suck.
Especially when I own them. I own these games. I literally own physical copies of these games. I'm not talking about digital games because digital games, you technically don't own them. We've talked about this before. That's why Gio and I are predominantly more physical collectors, is because digital games, you only own the license to play the game.
Yes.
And that license can be revoked at any time.
Yes.
So, that, and it's just, I don't know. What are the solutions? Did you find any?
Yeah. So one solution is that you can hack the firmware of your PS3 and it'll patch that out. It'll get rid of that. So if your CMOS battery dies or you don't have connection to the internet, you can still play your games.
And what's the con to that? That means that you can no longer share your trophy information.
Yeah.
You're no longer connected to the PlayStation Network servers.
Yeah. I think so. There's some there's some firmware, like third-party firmware, which still allow you to interact with like their network in like a limited way. But I don't. Yeah, you're probably right. You probably can't update those things. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is you would have to. And I did this on my Dreamcast. I ordered a CMOS battery replacement kit, and I soldered it on there, and I just now it's like a simple swap in and out battery solution.
Oh, just like the Saturn?
Yeah, so I can just buy a new battery on Amazon and just plug it in, or go to the store and plug it in. But here's another thing: how long are these old batteries going to stay on the market? You know what I mean? Like we don't know. Like maybe in 10 years they just stop making these old batteries, and then
You're talking about like a post-apocalyptic future. It's like I need double A's.
yeah. So yeah, that's one issue, or that's one way. Obviously, I don't think there's any modding kits for batteries for the PS3 yet, most likely, and the PS4. It's usually
That's
for
what I know
older
of.
systems like the
But
Dreamcast.
like, like the Saturn
Yeah,
and the Dreamcast, they made what is it? The Rhea and the Phoebe?
yeah,
Who knows if those kinds of things are in the PlayStation 3 / PlayStation 4's future? And for those that don't know what a Rhea or Phoebe are,
yeah,
would you like to tell them, Gio?
yeah. So Araya and a Phoebe are called ODEs, optical disc emulators. And there's actually a gentleman on, he has a WordPress account, a WordPress blog where he sells these. He invented them. All right, he invented them. The cheap like ones you see online, those have been reversed engineered by like production companies in China and sold for like cheap profits. Those are not the originals. The originals come from this one guy. His name is escaping me right now, but I bought the original for the Dreamcast from him and the original for the Saturn, and essentially it emulates the disk drive, meaning you can throw the ISO, which is like a image of the disk, on a SD card, and then this ODE will read it as it's a real disc, and it'll play the game as if it's a real disc. It's a really cool breakthrough of technology, but dude, we might be like 10 years from anything from that on a PS3. I mean,
I
those
mean,
are,
even
yeah,
Sony is incapable of a reverse engineering the PlayStation
yeah,
3 to be capable of even played on the PlayStation 4 or
4.
PlayStation 5. You have to play them via PS Now via server.
Yes.
So the
It's not
PlayStation
easy.
3 was incredibly difficult to develop for,
Yeah.
and that's why it had a lot of issues out of the gate. And that's kind of one of the reasons why Sony doesn't, uh, what's the word, really take care of their PlayStation 3 back catalog.
Yeah.
Honestly, whatever was on the PlayStation 3, if it hasn't been re-released on more current generation consoles, it's locked to that
Yeah.
PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to preserve it.
Hmm.
It's because it's like these other consoles, like the Saturn, where the games are stuck there
Hmm.
and they will stay there
Yeah.
unless you sail the high seas.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, in all honesty, we're years and years away from any kind of device like that. So I would say the main solution would be to hack your firmware, or to be like skilled enough to replace your CMOS battery. So now with that being said, the PS4 is even worse because you can't even play your discs. And so that just turns it into junk at that point. So
Well, that's the same thing with the PlayStation 3.
no, you can play your discs. It's just your
No,
digital games.
no, even with your physical games, if your PlayStation 3 is unable to connect to the network and the
Hmm.
battery is dead,
Yeah.
the CMOS battery is dead, your physical games are also useless.
Are you
I just said
sure?
that. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm pretty
because
sure Hikikomori said so.
oh, because
Don't
in the
take my word for
video,
it. I could be wrong. I
yeah,
could be
in the
wrong.
video, I remember him
But I could have sworn
saying,
that was it.
yeah. Either way, it's bad. Either it
Yeah.
doesn't look. even if the PS3 can play physical and the PS4 can't, it doesn't matter. It sucks. Like we all downloaded a bunch of PS1 classics to our PS3, especially now that they're shutting down the store, and we want to be able to play them. So
There's I'm gonna do a shout out. Gaia Seed still available in the North American markets
yeah,
for the PlayStation Network. If you're not ready to sail the high seas just yet, if you want to play it from the PlayStation Network,
yeah,
it's I believe $5.99 or $4.99. You have to actually search for it. It's
okay,
not going to pop up just by looking at PS1, and they removed it unceremoniously from the EU markets.
yes,
So
yeah,
that game, Japan only exclusive shooter. I'm a huge fan of shooters, and just saying this so people are aware
yeah,
that these games are disappearing as we speak,
yeah.
and no one knows the wiser, even before the closeout date of believe what is it, July again?
Yeah, so the PS3 and the PSP are July, and then the Vita is August, I believe.
August,
Yeah,
correct, exactly. So that game is again Japan only exclusive, selling for close to 500 on eBay.
yeah,
You can get it for $5.
yeah. Get it. Um, so, and here I want to bring up another topic that Hikikomori brought up.
Mm.
Why buy a PS5 digital when they're doing this? You know what I mean? Like, if you have the potential to be locked out of all your digital games in the future, why even trust them to buy a PS5 digital? That's
I
a good
mean,
question.
yeah, that's a good question, but I don't think it's not so hard of an answer. It's not that hard to get there, and we can look at a friend of ours of the podcast, John.
Hmm.
He's very much into the digital future,
Hmm.
and look at all the games that we have surrounding us. Look at that arcade cabinet.
Yeah.
All these things take a lot of space.
Yes,
Saving space is huge,
it is.
especially depending on where you live.
Hmm.
That's one thing. Also, accessibility.
Hmm.
The accessible, just the fact that you can go ahead and play all these games at your fingertips, changing them at the fly, on a whim, however you want. That's much easier than, ooh, which game I'm gonna play. Okay, gotta get up, gotta get that, gotta roll out of the couch, gotta go to the closet, gotta see what's available. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, Open up the case, put it in,
So
wait,
convenience,
and yeah, definitely convenience, but also
convenience.
also the fact that convenience in terms of speed, but also the fact that we are wearing down our systems
Yeah,
every time we put in a disk.
yeah, yeah.
Every time it's doing something extra, you're wearing down what it's meant to be doing.
And that's what those ODE devices are for. They're not designed for hacking. They're designed so that you don't wear down your disk collection. That's what they're designed for.
Well, not
In
just your disk collection, but also the systems themselves. And
Yeah,
consoles as it is, they're getting up there in terms of
yeah.
prices as well.
And the way to ethically use an ODE is you take your disk, you burn it to your computer, you copy the image, and then you load it onto the SD card in your console. That way, your console doesn't get the wear and tear of using a disk drive. You can
The
actually,
disk doesn't get the wear and tear.
yeah, and the disk doesn't get the wear. That's what it's for. So anyone who thinks it's purely pirating, no. These things are designed to keep things from
Preserved.
breaking down. Yeah, they're to preserve them. So, yeah, yeah, it's one of those things. If you're, I would say, if you're worried about it, if this is something that bothers you, you don't like it, you like complete ownership of what you purchase. You don't want someone telling you, "Oh no, you can't use that because we decided."
We set we
Yeah,
decided something or other,
yeah.
something arbitrary.
Then I would strongly suggest rethinking getting any kind of digital console in the future. And I would strongly suggest looking at backing up. We talked about this last week. Back up your stuff. That's what I'm working on right now. I'm actually doing a video on it, backing up a fat PS3 hard drive and replacing it, and then re uh, uploading the data back to it.
I still need to order that hard drive. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, but lo and behold, one of the discs got stuck, and I I couldn't get the hard drive out, so I had to order like a special plier that digs into the side of the disc, and I can screw it out. So I'm
Wait,
waiting on that.
a
Yeah.
PS3 disc?
No, the disk drive. It's in a little housing container, and one of the screws. Yeah, sorry, screw. One of the screws got lodged in there, and
Yes.
I stripped it, so I can't get it out. So I had to order a special plier to get it out. So that's what's holding up the video. I was trying to release it this week, but I'm waiting on that. So yeah, I would recommend, back it up, um, get a new drive that's going to last longer and have more space. Uh, you know, re-upload all your data from your backup, restore your backup, and then download all your games. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put out a video for that. That's what I recommend. So yeah, this is a bad issue, and Sony is not lost yet. They can redeem themselves. They can easily put out a firmware patch that will reverse this stupid decision on their part. I hope they do it. So if anyone from Sony watches this, which I doubt,
They
that
watch us all the time. What are you talking
yeah,
about? Jim
that
Ryan was tweeting at us the other day.
yeah. Or if you have constructive criticism for Sony, I would say, you can stop this, Sony. You can patch this out. You don't have to keep this in. You can make an update, let people download it, and get rid of this disastrous decision on your part. All right, so that's it for that. Next up, E3 2021 has been dated. Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, and more all confirmed. So we all know what happened with E3 last year. It was canceled due to the pandemic. Now it is back up. And so far we have Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, Warner Brothers Games, Koch Media, uh,
Koch.
Koch Media, or
I don't know.
yeah, I think it's Koch, but and more to come. All right, here we go. Welcome back. It's been hard waiting quietly as we got ready for today, but we are thrilled to officially announce our plans for June 12th through 15th. Sign up for updates below and get hyped for the return of E3. Okay, so there you have it. E3 is not dead. It has arisen from the ashes. So it's going to be in July. It's going to be free. It's going to be online. And I think I'll watch it. I think I'll watch it to see if there's any big announcements. Obviously, I like to cover those things for the show. But yeah, what do you think about that?
Uh, I, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see
Yeah,
what happens. I think. I don't know. I don't know. I think we talked about this last year when E3 was unceremoniously canceled, and it's like, does the world need E3?
yeah,
Especially if developers or these studios can go ahead and directly talk to consumers. Something like a
yeah.
Nintendo Direct, Sony's State of Play, the Xbox Experience.
Hmm.
So it's I don't know. We'll see what comes of it.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what happens. I'll probably, tune in obviously just to know what's going on, especially if it interests me.
yeah,
Because not everything game related interests me.
yes, yeah,
But the thing that I found intriguing is that Konami is going to be there. What is up with
yeah.
that?
And we haven't heard from them in a while.
Hide nor hair. Yeah, it's like what are they doing? I
Yeah,
remember my favorite E3 was when they brought like the developers from Japan and they were there repping their own games. I love that one. That was my favorite one.
yeah, um, yeah. I am. And people have been like wondering what Konami is doing because we covered that they restructured their business
Yes.
to focus more on the more profitable areas of their business, which are not gaming. But at the same
Well, a
time,
different type of gaming,
it's a
which is
different, yeah.
gambling.
It's not video games. It's
Yeah.
yeah. But at the same time, we were talking about like all these legendary IPs they have:
Castlevania,
Castlevania,
Silent Hill,
Silent Hill, Metal Gear Solid.
Suikoden.
So Yeah, I hope there's some big news from them, good news from them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna tune in. I'm kind of
Contra
glad
2.
it's back. It makes me feel things are getting more normal again.
Still online, bro.
It's still online, but you know, next year we'll probably be in person. All
Do you
right.
remember the time when you wanted to go to E3 in person?
No.
Okay,
um,
moving on.
I'm just saying for other people, not
Fair.
myself. All right. Next up, we have a very good article by the Gamer. Meet the developers who are about to lose their PS Vita games forever.
This is
So
sad.
we talk about us as gamers, and how we don't like that they're shutting down these stores because it's going to be harder for us to get games. But we don't talk about the developers. There's people right now who are racing against the clock to release their game on PS Vita before it's gone forever. And obviously, these developers are not taken into consideration even a little bit. So let's. I like that the Gamer is doing this because it shines a light on the people who might have poured years into a project only to have it ripped away from them. You know what I
Not
mean?
easy to make a game.
Yeah, it's not easy to make a game at all. So let's look at this. Some quotes here. I'm going to put this article in the video description. Change is something that needs to happen at a publisher level. Otherwise, players looking to replay these games will have to acquire them from questionable sources instead of the console they're intended for, the developer says, referencing the fact that piracy will be one of the only ways to access these games once the stores close. By removing the legitimate option, publishers aren't leaving players with much choice. It's especially frustrating given how much effort Microsoft is putting into preserving its library and seeing great success with it. For me personally, it's also a somewhat sentimental moment. The Vita was home to the first games I ever worked on, and it's always nice hearing from people who still play those games or recently picked them up and enjoying them for the first time. It's sad knowing that those games are a lot less likely to be discovered and enjoyed. I'll certainly be making sure I download them before they're lost to the ether. Um, so yeah, that's how a lot of these developers feel. And I'm just gonna kind of go through some of these games here. Sir Eats a Lot. Uh, I believe this was a game that launched on the Vita, but it looks like they're bringing it to the Switch, which is good. You have Lucky the Lizard Lives Again.
Licky the Lucky Lizard.
Oh, sorry. Uh,
Licky the Lucky Lizard
Licky
lives
the
again.
that's a
Wow, that's a good
mouthful.
one.
Licky the
Yeah.
Lucky Lizard Lives Again. Swap Quest. Uh,
I never heard of that. That actually looks kind of just from that art style alone. I dig that.
yeah, it looks like an old JRPG.
Yeah,
Task Force Compass. Um, and as you can see, a lot of these are going to be releasing for other consoles.
that's good.
Um,
That they find life in other locations.
yeah, They Bleed Pixels, Russian Subway Dogs. Um, so yeah, I highly recommend everyone go check that article out and just see from the perspective of developers because, you know, yeah, it sucks for us, gamers who play the games and want to be able to buy the games and play them, but it sucks way more for the developers who put years of work into this to see it all just flush down the drain. So, and look, there's games that were coming out for the Vita all the time. There was, dude, I would log on to Play Asia and see new Vita games coming out all the time, man.
Oh hell yeah! I
Yeah,
actually wanted to get what was that most recent game? Sense,
yeah,
the cyberpunk ghost story,
uh-huh.
and they actually had a Vita version, and it sold out so quick.
Yeah,
I couldn't get it, but that was just a few months ago. I
yeah.
wanted to get that one.
So, yeah, I highly recommend everyone read it and just kind of see things through the eyes of a developer, because for them it's more tragic.
It's heartbreaking.
It's
Yeah.
heartbreaking. It is. All right, next up, you're gonna like this. Konami's
Oh,
canceled Castlevania game for Dreamcast has been resurrected.
yeah.
Castlevania Resurrection exists. So, essentially, this was a game that was going to come out, and let's read this here. This title was originally announced by Konami in 1999 and was intended to be a Sega Dreamcast release until it was delayed and then canceled around the year 2000. It's believed the Dreamcast struggles and the PlayStation 2 successes were contributing factors. Before it was canceled, it was shown off to the press, and now somehow out of nowhere, a video of the game has been being played, has been uploaded to YouTube titled Castlevania Resurrection Exists.
I love this shit.
I know, this shit is amazing. It appears to be an early build of the game, predating 1999, and allowed the developer to transport the characters to many different areas. So this is a picture of the disc here. This is November 5th, 1999, Castlevania Resurrection. This is a Dreamcast developer disc.
Or the 11th of May.
Yeah, could be, could be. I know Japanese do their dates differently, right?
Yeah.
The title was apparently intended to focus on Sonia Belmont and a character called Victor Belmont, and would have taken place in 1666, right before Simon Belmont's original outing. It is not known yet if the uploader of this footage will be sharing the pre-release build online, but if we hear anything, we'll let you know. Okay, so I'm gonna put this up because this is, I don't think we'll get a copyright strike on this. I'm just gonna turn the volume off.
Okay.
And I'm gonna show you guys.
Some of the gameplay.
Actually, you know what? Damn it, we can't.
Why?
We can't put anything from YouTube. I just realized.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Let's try.
But the article has a link, so you all can go check it out.
Save it.
Save
it.
yeah.
So put it on the description.
So, yeah, look, we recently had the Xbox 360 version of 007 that was released online, and people were playing it with the same day. I mean, I love seeing this shit because
It's just an example again of what we were talking
Yeah.
about. Give people the choice.
yes,
Just because it's old doesn't mean people don't want to play it.
exactly. And so dude, I hope they release this to the wild, and someone does a modding starts a modding project on it to finish the game. That would be freaking awesome.
I love that. There's a lot of repros
Yeah.
that are like that, where they've gone ahead and people have developed, quote unquote, their own versions of popular games. They've done that with like A Link to the Past and Metroid, and a lot of Castlevania too.
Yeah.
So that'd be awesome if they can take that game and kind of like flesh it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
All right. So our final story. I usually save rumors last because, they come. They could be true.
They come
could
with a
not be
grain of
true.
salt.
Yeah. All right. So this one. I am a former Sony employee. Ask me anything.
No, you have to go Amma.
All right.
I'm kidding.
I'm going to read his original post, and then we're going to go through some of the top questions people asked him. For a number of years, I worked at Sony in close proximity to the Vita. Like many of my fellow islanders, I am and have been upset by Sony's aberrant treatment of the Vita. Now, when he says islanders, he could be talking that he's from Japan, or maybe Okinawa or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
I am here today to give some insight into what happened behind the scenes. Please note that for my own anonymity, I will not be answering questions related to my identity or the specifics of my employment. I hope you understand. It's been about 11 hours. Okay, so this is him.
This is definitely Ken Kutanagi.
You think so?
No, I'm totally kidding. That'd be insane.
It would be insane. All right. Um, all right. So let's look at some of these here. All right. Why is it that Sony dropped first party support? There were so many games on PS3 4 that could have gotten decent ports that would have really rocked. Example, Unreal 3 games. But the number of games that really show what it's capable of is quite small. The return on investment just wasn't there. Market penetration was weak. While they made an earnest effort to make games in the beginning, when those numbers didn't improve, they stopped investing. The PS3 outsold the Vita about 4-1, and the PS4 outsold the Vita about 5-1. As a Vita fan, it sucks, but Sony as a business was targeting areas where sales potential was higher and mostly left the Vita to third-party partners. They still made money on every sale, so they were largely happy with accepting it as passive income for most of the Vita's life cycle. So that's why. So that's his explanation of why we didn't see more first-party titles on the Vita. All right, the Vita firmware has been compromised now for almost 5 years. Is Sony planning to target users of modified firmware and ban them? Are they even capable of detecting modified firmware or unusual activity? They have good telemetry, specifically when you're playing a game that you don't have a license for. They also have telemetry to see the names of apps you're running. In other words, yes, they know who those people are. Whether they'll do anything is another question altogether. If they ban your account, you can create a new one. If they ban your console, you can buy a new one. They think of it like an endless game of whack-a-mole, and it's just not wise use of their resources. Never say never, though. Okay.
But I mean, they only know who you are if you go online.
Yeah.
It's not like they have like Sony ninjas at your house, like, oh,
Nintendo seems to be the company that most
console.
aggressively goes after people.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, here's a good one. What was the reasoning behind having no user accessible storage in the original models and only 1 gigabyte in later models? Why did they continue using proprietary memory cards after it became obvious how much of an obstacle that was for potential buyers? The 1 gigabyte decision was largely because of patches, IRRC. The ability to download indie games and stuff was just a nice bonus. Proprietary memory cards were to deter hacks. It's hard to express just how much of a cultural impact the 2011 hack had on Sony's culture. And for those that don't remember that hack, that was when they hacked like tons of user accounts on the PS3. And wasn't there a class action lawsuit against Sony for that?
Yes.
I think I got like 40 cents or something.
IIRC means if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So there you have it. It was the hack made Sony.
The hack that shook the world.
Yeah, it shook Sony to make them more apprehensive of allowing people to use memory cards on the early Vita. Okay. What do you personally find to be the biggest failings of how Sony treated the Vita? What do you think they did well? I think they created a damn fine handheld, but they weirdly gimped some of its capabilities. At the console's launch, they only made some of its memory accessible and didn't open it up to devs until later in the life cycle. Yeah, that is very odd. They made memory cards proprietary out of hack fears. They never used the accessory ports that was on the OG Vita. I feel like they had a lack of vision for what the Vita could have been because they were laser focused on the disappointing sales numbers. By all means, it could have been a Switch 5 to 6 years ahead of its time, but they decided to more or less fail fast instead of double down.
Dude, so true.
Yeah.
I mean, the Vita practically is a Switch with its remote play ability.
Yeah. Yeah.
Granted, you know, you're really stuck to incredible internet if you want to do remote play like that.
Yeah.
And then you also have to have 2 consoles on.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly like a Switch,
Yeah.
but it's practically a Switch. And even being able to play these PlayStation 4 games remotely on a PlayStation Vita, insane,
Yeah.
amazing. And like I love my Vita. I was just playing Final Fantasy: The War of the Lions, Final Fantasy Tactics: The War of the Lions the other day because it just looks beautiful on my OLED screen. 'Cause I have the original Vita,
Yeah.
and it's such a travesty to see all the missed opportunities that console had. It
Yeah.
was such a powerhouse,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
And
it was sleek and beautiful.
yes.
It is, pardon.
Yeah.
I do kind of want to get another one just so I can have like a backup. Like I'm at the point where I'm getting more comfortable with what games I have
Hmm.
and thinking more about like I should get another console in order to have a backup for my current console. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, it's not a bad idea.
But also
The prices
the
are going
problem
up.
the prices are going up, but also the memory cards. Memory
Yeah.
cards are insane. Like honestly, I only have a 32 gig, and it's not enough for
Yeah.
the amount of games that I have. Like, and it is frustrating to think that because they made proprietary cards, they're just as expensive, or they're getting just as expensive as a console. The 64 gigabyte memory card is insane. I think it's going for over close to 200 now, I
Jeez.
think. So, and I mean, I need more memory cards in
Yeah.
order to save all that data. So it sucks. It really does. Because and again, the digital games. I've got quite a bit of digital games.
Yeah. Um,
Unfortunately.
so what I would say, maybe in the future, if someone, yeah, tomorrow, someone can make a third party uh, PS Vita memory card. That would be awesome because I literally I just bought a third party PS1 memory card from Castlevania Games.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
How large?
dude, it's like a gig or something, man.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to look into that. How much
Yeah.
did it cost?
Uh it was I forget.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, look into
Shoot.
it because
Okay. Because
yeah,
I was literally looking at memory cards last night in terms of my PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2.
yeah.
Because those jokers,
They
their
fill
memory
up like
cards
that,
get
man.
filled up so quick.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I've got more games than I have space to store.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a third party PS1 memory card on Castlevania Games. It sells out like that. I just pre-ordered one. It's sold out like that day. So,
Oh, okay. Damn.
go to their site and
I'll
sign up for
subscribe.
the notifications.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, if we could get a third party version of the PS Vita memory card, that would be great and it would make collecting much easier.
Well, here's the question for you
Yeah.
is that do you need to hack your PlayStation 1 console in order to use that memory card?
No,
Or is it just plug and play?
it's
I mean,
plug
it
and play.
should. For these older consoles, it's not as uh what's the word, discerning.
Yeah,
But
it's plug and play.
the but this there is actually a third party memory card for the PS Vita that uses an SD card and then like a fake housing a
Oh,
la
okay.
the current PlayStation Vita memory cards. The only issue is that you do need to hack your Vita.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so in order to get around that, that's what you need to do. And I don't want to do that just yet.
But here's the thing.
What's up?
If you're thinking about buying another PS Vita, you could make that Vita the one with the third party firmware with a huge memory card, and then you could keep your original Vita stock.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I want to do
Yeah.
because the original Vita, it's the OLED, so the newer Vitas didn't use the OLEDs.
Yeah. OLED
Um,
screens are beautiful.
they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous.
So
Are you gonna get a Vita?
I it's over sitting over there. I haven't unpacked it yet. I just ordered one. Yeah,
Congrats.
and I ordered uh Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3,
Okay.
which is getting rare to find honestly to get a copy.
Yes. I
Um
mean, honestly, all the Vita games are
yes.
getting rare.
Metal Gear Solid HD Collection,
Well done.
and Need for Speed Most Wanted.
So speaking of the Switch situation,
Uh-huh.
Metal Gear Solid HD Collection is honestly one of those things that is akin to how the Switch acts because of the transferring ability. It allowed you to go ahead and play your PlayStation Vita version of Metal Gear Solid
Hmm.
and then save it. And then you can go ahead and do transferring, which is transferring your memory that you saved on the Vita via the PlayStation Network to the cloud server, whatever.
Hmm.
And then you go ahead and you go home. You play Metal Gear Solid HD Collection on your PlayStation 3 on the console, and you can transfer in the memory that you saved from your Vita.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and switch however you want to play, whether remotely or at home. That was awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome.
So I mean, that was akin to practically what the Switch is now, rather than but minus the whole BS of owning the game, two copies of the same game.
Yes. Yeah.
But still, like, oh my God, that game so great. Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate though that the Vita version didn't bring Peace Walker. So
Yeah.
if I may make a suggestion, get Peace Walker while you can. It's going to be on the PlayStation Store,
Okay.
so you can play it on the Vita.
Yeah.
Either that or
So,
get Peace Walker HD for the Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, dude, there's so many games on my list right now. It's hard
I
to
know.
keep up.
Just keep adding more. I
Yeah.
mean, just be like myself and create notes
Yeah.
on your phone. But here's the thing, I I do notes on my phone, and I write down what I want. Like in terms of Vita games, I don't have that many more to get,
Hmm.
but there's always something else that comes out of nowhere, and you're like, "Ooh, I want that."
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, "Is that in my list?" No, but I want it.
Yeah. So, yeah, there you have it, everyone. The tragic news that Sony just didn't have a good vision for the Vita. They kind of squandered it. And
And in honesty, if I may,
yeah.
uh, Sony, every company has their ups and downs.
Yes.
Nintendo had their Wii U.
Yeah.
The Xbox had their Xbox One.
Yeah.
and Sony recently, in recent memory, the PS3 was kind of a failure as far as a response to PlayStation 2 and its success.
Yes.
PlayStation 4 has definitely lifted the console
Yeah.
maker
PlayStation
up.
4 was very successful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, looking forward, the question is, what will Sony do with the PlayStation 5?
Yeah.
And it is disheartening to hear how they treated the Vita
Yeah.
and what is going on with the store, the PlayStation 3, PlayStation PSP, PlayStation Vita store.
Yeah.
But here's hoping that PlayStation 5 doesn't follow in the suits of like PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita, and that they actually do have a good hold on what they want to do in the future. Because right now, and this is talking in a grander scheme,
Yeah.
Xbox is making the right moves.
Yes. Yeah. You're right. And even as much as um, even as much as Nintendo, like the Switch, is dominating the market right now,
Yes.
um, I would say that coming up very quickly is looking like Microsoft
Yeah.
because of the attention to detail they're giving to their older consoles and their older titles.
Game preservation,
Yes.
the developer
Yeah.
acquisition, and also player choice and
Game
the
Pass.
Game Pass,
Game
Ultimate Game
Pass.
Pass.
Yeah. So,
Like all these things are incredibly consumer friendly and focused.
yes. Yeah.
And granted, their first party titles haven't gotten there yet, but
No.
keep an eye out.
Yeah. Definitely keep an eye out.
Things will be changing shortly.
Yeah.
In the next few years, we'll be seeing a lot of hard-hitting games coming from Xbox. And guess what? It'll be only available on Xbox or via Game Pass. And Game Pass will be available wherever.
Yes. Yeah. So
So it's kind of interesting. We're at the cusp of change.
yeah, you can see, you can look, you can see Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox. You can look at them all and see how they all have very different visions right now. And uh, Nintendo's doing well because their console is just so well made.
Well, they've
And
carved out their own
yeah,
market.
they carved out their own market. So they're dominating their market. There's no one else to compete with them, right? Now, over
Sony
here,
could have.
Sony could have with the Vita, but as you saw there, they chose not to
Yeah.
because they didn't think in the long game. They didn't anticipate the long game. They just said, "Oh, the sales were bad. Okay, we're going to start, phasing this thing out sooner than later." Not the right way to do it. But if you take PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and you put them head to head right now, I mean, just from what I'm seeing now, right now, I mean, it seems like the Xbox is starting to kind of like slowly inch forward over PlayStation because of the fact that like they're just offering so many different options to their gamers.
Correct.
And if you are like us and you like collecting old games, man, to see that they're giving so much backwards compatibility is very enticing. It's very enticing. Now, I haven't bought an Xbox Series X yet because they're still kind of hard to get, and I don't want to pay for it yet if I don't think I'm going to use it. Um, so I mostly do play PlayStation 5 and Switch, but um, I will say right now at the moment, my least played console is my PlayStation 5 out of my new ones. I'm playing the Switch more than the PlayStation 5 right now. Um, and I'm actually going back in time. I'm going to be playing my PS3 and my Vita more because they're trying to, they're shutting it down. So I want to relive it as long as I can. So, yeah, it's just, I'm torn now. I'm torn now. Before I thought Sony had it in the bag, but I'm just not so sure anymore.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's kind of what I was getting at the previous segment in terms of, how many games have you purchased?
Yeah.
Like PlayStation 5 has been out since November,
Yeah.
and I only have one game,
Yeah.
and I've only played two PlayStation 5 exclusive games, Demon Souls and Astrobot's Playroom.
Hmm.
And predominantly I have used the PlayStation 5 as a PlayStation 4 player.
Yes.
It is fantastic at playing PlayStation 4 games.
It's great at playing PlayStation 4 games.
But in terms of PlayStation 5 games, there's nothing that really has caught my eye
Yeah.
in terms of new console exclusives.
Yeah.
The most recent thing that I mean, I want to get Devil May Cry 5 eventually because it is a different version.
Yeah.
And I do want to buy the Neo collection. I think that looks really cool.
Yeah.
But I already own those two games. I've already played them to death.
Yes.
The next PlayStation 5 experience that is solely on PlayStation 5 is Returnal.
Returnal. Returnal. Yeah.
Yeah, but am I going to buy that day one?
Yeah. Good question. Good question.
$70.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
So, yeah, I mean, uh, that's it for the show today. I mean, we covered a lot of ground. Mostly, these are very thought provoking. The PlayStation topics are very thought provoking. So, please share your opinion on what you think is going on at Sony. Like, I mean, are they just being too short sighted and only going for the bottom line? Um,
Are they
and
struggling from hubris?
yeah, struggling from hubris.
They did that with the PlayStation 3. I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah,
Is Jim Ryan being short-sighted by not caring about game preservation?
yeah. And
How do you feel about it?
there's definitely a big difference between Jim Ryan and who's
Phil
it?
Spencer?
Phil Spencer. Very big difference.
Yeah.
um, Phil Spencer seems like he's way more involved in the community.
Not just more involved in the community, but he's definitely looking forward. And I mean, as much as I dislike, just having all digital games,
Yeah,
in terms of a subscription, it is more palatable.
it is. It is. It is.
So we'll see what it is. But yeah, no, it is a large conversation, and there's so many ways to think about it. And I'd
Yeah.
like to hear what the viewers have to say about it.
Yeah.
So please comment below.
Yeah, please comment below. Let us know what you think about it, and if you have any like if you could sit down with Jim Ryan head to head, what would you tell him? All right, that's it for the show this week, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Keep on gaming. Take care.
Take care.